Hello, I'm teacher Sherry Rose, and this is a special coronavirus epidemic message to our local, state, and government leaders. And I am presenting my story and my opinions primarily for advocacy for the early childhood education profession right now. I am a part of the NAEYC organization, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and therefore I'm also a part of the California state affiliate of that organization, as well as the Santa Clara Valley chapter of that organization. So us early childhood educators have been highly impacted by the shelter-in-place orders and by the social distancing restrictions that are taking place in our state, in our county, and in our country right now. So I'm going to be answering a series of questions that our state affiliate has asked us as early childhood educators to respond to, so that you as government leaders can understand more about what these actions regarding the coronavirus pandemic is doing to our field. So to tell you a little bit about myself, before all of this started, I was working full-time at a parent participation preschool. And I was teaching a 3-day class, 3 mornings a week, and a 4-day class, 4 afternoons a week. I've also been the director of that program for the last 3 years, and so any time that I was not teaching directly in the classroom with children was spent on my director or administrative responsibilities. So when we had to close our school because of the shelter-in-place order, my work life shifted incredibly. I've been blessed to still be working full-time during this epidemic, but teaching from home is very different from teaching in the classroom. I've been making videos for my children, circle time videos, story time videos, which is a very different type of interaction than in person. And it's probably not so great for the children. I'm glad that to hear the feedback from my families that children are enjoying these videos. But prior to all of this, I've been one of the many people championing for less screen time for children. And now here I am presenting them with another screen. And this is just not good for their development. I have been providing curriculum resources, project ideas to my families with things that they hopefully have at home already, as well as resources for them as parents trying to parent in this time of coronavirus. So one of the many things that has impacted our school and many schools by this epidemic is enrollment. So enrollment at our school for the next year opens in January. We were able to hold our big open house in January, but we regularly hold open houses each month. And usually our April and May ones are our biggest ones because we have parents who are desperately seeking preschool. Well, right now we're getting almost no request emails because everybody's afraid and doesn't know what's going to happen. And we're unable to provide open houses and in-person tours, which really are the best way to market our programs. Sure, I can make a video tour of our school, but is that really going to help when there's families who aren't even looking for preschool because they don't know if it's going to really be real in the future, or at least in the near future? This future is so unpredictable. And as a result of this, for me personally, my school board made a decision to cut down on teacher salaries, specifically my own, and make it an hourly position, which is just not doable for me to get paid less than I already get paid, which is already not enough. not by the fault of my school, but just by the fault of this whole field. And so now in the time of coronavirus, I've also found myself looking for a job. It's been very strange to be job searching at this time, especially in the childcare field. And I've been able to make a decision as to what my next steps are, but I feel very sad to tell you that after 18 years of teaching in the classroom, I'm leaving preschool education to become a nanny again. I love nannying, and I'm super excited to nanny for this new family that's coming into my life and that I'm coming into their lives. But the underlying reasons for having to lean toward that are still scary. Preschool work, childcare work seems unstable. Not sure if we'll get let out of our houses and then have to come back in. Am I going to have to do distance learning forever if I stuck with preschool? And just the stress of these new regulations that don't feel developmentally appropriate. So it seems like too much for me, which is why I have chosen this wonderful family to work for, because I will have stable work and I will not have the stress of these new regulations. So I think that the biggest challenge for a director of a childcare center right now are financial concerns. Most of us are not able to continue charging our families tuition, and many families cannot afford to continue to pay tuition to a school that their child is simply not attending. Sending videos and project ideas and resources to families is not the same as going to school. And teacher pay is a big concern. Like most businesses, childcare centers' biggest line item is usually teacher pay. And early childhood education pay is already so low that to ask to cut hours or to furlough teachers is just simply asking too much and putting people in poorhouse when they shouldn't have to be. So I'm very worried that these current restrictions, while they may be lifted, we're going to continue our lives with other new restrictions. I'm seeing that the childcare licensing system is recommending groups of no more than 10. So if you think about a school that's normally been enrolling 24 children in a class, now they're enrolling 10. So you kind of end up with two choices. You're either going to have to lay off staff, provide less resources, have less resources in the school because you're going to have less money coming in, or you're going to have to make a huge tuition increase, which may or may not be welcomed by families. Some of the other things that I think will be different, look, early childhood educators already wear a lot of hats. We are teachers, we are directors, but we are also nurses, we are also pest control managers, we are so many different things that we are almost lawyers at some point. And so now we're going to also have to be professional cleaners. We've always had cleaning as a part of our job, and we've always been disinfecting and sanitizing. But now it feels like there's going to be even more of a focus on that. And then the last thing that makes me really the most worried is this idea that we'll reopen, but we'll have children 6 feet apart from each other. First of all, this doesn't feel feasible. If anybody has spent any time in a classroom of 3-year-olds, the idea of keeping them away from each other feels almost impossible. But also, it's not developmentally appropriate. It is really important for children's development for them to be connected with their peers, socializing with their peers, in close proximity, sharing materials, touching each other, giving hugs, helping a friend, getting a physical attention and love from a teacher. And these are things that are just not possible if we're going to be keeping children physically apart. It makes me wonder if maybe it would actually just be better to wait until we can actually be together to open up childcare centers. So I think one of the things would be that all us childcare centers need to be working on having a financial reserve. If you didn't have one already, you are likely closing already, like for good. But having a financial reserve will help schools to stay in business even during times like this. I think a lot of us have learned that we need to have force majeure clauses in our handbooks and in our admission agreement policies so that we do and can require parents to pay full tuition even during times like this when we're closed because of a major event that is out of our control. I think we need additional information on the potential future, and we need to be able to share that with families. We need to be able to put in our handbooks what will happen if this happens again, and what might distance learning look like, and have plans for that rather than what we've been doing right now. And I think all of us are doing the best that we can, but we're really kind of thinking on our feet, and kind of just trying to figure out what we're supposed to be providing. So having more of a plan for that would probably be really good. And then also thinking about how we can recruit families for our programs online, thinking about those video tours and those kinds of things. They're not ideal, but it may be something that we need to be planning for. I guess the main thing that I need right now is I need reassurance that this new normal is not normal. I need reassurance that we will go back to the old normal, because this is not normal. And everybody calling it the new normal doesn't really help it feel more normal. There are so many detriments to children's development in this new normal, where they're not getting to socialize with their peers, they're not really getting direct interaction with their teachers, or if they are, it's so limited or screen-based that it's just not good for them. So I'm going to repeat some of the things that I've already said so far, but what I think mostly that our leaders need to know is that we're increasing children's screen time right now, and that is not good for them for so many reasons. If you need research-based reasons, please go seek out the Campaign for a Commercial-Free Childhood and their Screen Time Action Network, because they have amazing resources to talk about exactly why this is not good for our children. I also think that our leaders need to know that expecting parents to work full-time and teach their children full-time from home is not reasonable. It's just not possible. You can't wear two hats like that all day long and really get everything done. It does not feel fair. I think I want our leaders also to know that we are sufficiently scared. I'm certainly fearful myself, and I know that other people are fearful as well. And these fears are affecting our future that hasn't even happened yet. It's affecting enrollment in our childcare programs, and it's affecting our families' mental health and well-being. It's affecting teacher and director mental health and well-being. I think we are sufficiently scared, and we don't need more scare tactics. I also think it's important for our leaders to consider that families of lower income are more impacted by this epidemic than those of higher income. Those of lower income cannot afford to pay tuition when their child's not going to school. They cannot pay for a nanny to come into their home and take care of their child, and have somebody who's got a background in early childhood education interacting with their child. And they certainly cannot afford to not be working. They need to be working so that they can be earning more money. They're already of lower socioeconomic status. So I think that's of high concern that this is impacting those of lower socioeconomic status more than those of higher socioeconomic status. I think it's important for our leaders to know that we're paid a low wage as it is in early childhood education, and we can't make less. And the small business loans that were made available to us through our government have not been sufficient. Out of all the many, many directors that I am friends with, many applied for those loans. Most never heard back at all. Most didn't get any money, and I know only 1 or 2 people who've actually been accepted into that program. And knowing that there have been bigger problems with that program and large corporations getting some of that money that was meant for small businesses just hurts my heart. These loans were completely inaccessible, it felt like. So I also just want to reiterate that I want our leaders to know that keeping children separated within a child care center is neither easy nor developmentally appropriate. So when I see the stages of the rollout of reopening our economy that Governor Newsom has set out, and he is putting childcare into this stage 2 bucket of lower risk businesses, I think that he's wrong. I think that the closeness of proximity of teachers and students in childcare centers is just as important as my hairstylist being close to my head when she's washing, cutting, coloring my hair. I feel that child care centers, because of this, are really a part of those higher risk stage 3 businesses, though that's not what our governor is stating. I also want our officials to know that we wear a lot of hats, as I said, and now we're going to be expected to wear even more. And financially, when I look at what the government in our state has done that's been affecting childcare, transitional kindergarten already deeply impacted the enrollment of students who are in those young fives groups into our private preschool programs. And public preschool at a younger age threatens our 4-year-olds from enrolling as well. And we've seen that happening. I've actually been very pleased to see that the public preschool bill was stopped in the state Senate, because I was so worried that all these preschool programs who've been 0 to 5 are going to become 0 to 3 because the public government programs are just going to keep stealing our students, because who doesn't want free education over pay education? But because of these impacts, because of the impact of transitional kindergarten on our programs, we already have a lower amount of money in our reserves because we're getting less enrollment. And I'm not sure that the government thought about this when they implemented those programs. So I think I've said quite enough. I have a lot to say on this subject, and I want to thank you for listening to my story. I want to reiterate that the opinions that I have set forth in this video are my personal opinions, and I do not represent any organization when I state my story or my opinions today. And I want to thank NAEYC, CAAEYC, and the Santa Clara Valley chapter of CAAEYC for the support that they are giving to early childhood educators at this time. I am sad to be leaving the child care center portion of the early childhood field, but I am excited about my new adventure as a nanny. And I am grateful that I have this opportunity that will make it possible for me to still work with young children and still teach young children, even when there are shelter-in-place orders in effect. So thank you for your time. If you actually stuck through with me and watched all of this video, I invite you to like this video. Please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this subject. And I usually am posting more music and movement ideas and other early childhood curriculum ideas on this channel. I am thinking about what that will look like when I am no longer in a classroom. I do still want to be a presence on YouTube. And so if you want to stay informed with whatever it is that I decide to make of this channel, or you want to see my past videos, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click that bell to receive notifications, and I would love to keep you informed. And I may also start to do some little mini rants like this one on different subjects surrounding around child development. As you can see, this is a big passion of mine, and I have been honored to be in this field for 18 years, and I look forward to the future. I hope that there is a future for childcare where children can sing, hold hands, be in a circle around together without 6 feet of distance between them and their teachers. Thanks so much. Be safe and be well.